Right, good evening, guys. I hope you're all well. I hope you can hear me okay. Give us a thumbs up, make sure everything's okay. Say hello in the chat, give us a thumbs up, let us know you're here. And like I say, I'm not going to get too distracted with the chat. I'm going to stick to my task. We've got quite a lot to get through tonight, but we're in the chat. Lee's in the chat. You guys are all in the chat, so please chat away as normal. I will be staying focused on what we've got to do. So it's a happy new year. Well, I hope it's a happy new year. I know it's a cold one at the moment. I hope you've had a really good Christmas and a little bit of a break. It's definitely come back with a bang this year. It's very busy straight away. Design team are already feeling it. So we will come on to that anyway, but I hope you like my new office as well. I've got my garden shed and I've got the sign there and a new office behind me. So yeah, let me know what you think of that. If you're really clever, you'll work out that it's a really good virtual background, and the design team actually made this for me, so we can get things a bit more on brand when we're doing different things, so it's not just like the same background behind me all the time. Now, something that we will do down the line for you, if you like the look of this background, let us know in the chat if you would like one for your business. So would you like a background where you've got your sign on the wall? Maybe. Well, if you behave yourself, we might just be able to get the design team to look after you and do that for you like they've done for me. You'll be seeing some of these different backgrounds in the academy and throughout different streams and things that we do. I think it looks really good and it just stops it from being boring, basically. So I hope you like that. We will be looking after you if you behave yourself in the next few weeks, especially if you're an academy member. We'll be looking at this for you. But again, all in good time. So what we want to do tonight, the theme of tonight, like I say, the events, if you've been to live events before, you know that each live event has a theme. The streams are now going to have a bit of a theme as well. So obviously it's the first one of 2026. So what I want the theme, obviously tonight to be, is to make it very crystal clear to trade partners and academy members of what to expect over the coming months and on these streams. So again, like what we always say at the beginning of these streams are for academy members and trade partners. So whether you're using the trade account, whether you're an academy member, these streams are really important. We've been doing them now for years. It's important that if you can make it live on the Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, brilliant. But please do always catch up, because being part of the community and being part of this movement and the change that's happening, especially the change that we together are creating, it's important to stay tuned into what's happening and doing it live, making sure that you're participating in the chat and talking to each other, sending us messages in WhatsApp, before and after the stream. We enjoy all that. That's part of the engagement of being part of this community, and we really do love it. So make sure that we don't lose that this year. If anything, let's double down on that. Let's get as many of you watching these streams as possible so we can solidify our community. And as you'll be finding out at the event, because there's 60 people coming to the event, which is our maximum number for that room. We probably could do more. But as those of you that came to the last event would see, it's quite busy in that room at the moment. So I think we're, there's going to be a lot of stuff announced at that event as well. So you're going to find out more why it's so important to gel more as a community this year. So that's something we'll really be pushing on with, okay? So tonight really matters because we're going to set the compass for the rest of 2026. Obviously, these streams are going to be a little bit different. There will be guests coming on here and there. There will be sort of co-hosts that I'll be bringing in. So the load isn't all on me all the time. Maybe on the odd stream, someone else might do it, you'll find out more about that. But the point being is that 7 o'clock on a Wednesday is a staple. So stick it in your diary, no matter where you are. If you make sure 7 o'clock on a Wednesday is in your diary, and if you can't make it, I can't make it till 8 o'clock. Stick it in for 8 o'clock and watch it, or 10 o'clock the next morning or whatever it might be. Please stay tuned, because this year is going to move very, very quickly. And I don't want you to fall out of it, basically, because we are creating something amazing here, and you're going to really know more about that on the 16th of January. Whether you're at the event or not, you will find out about it all around that time. There is massive changes coming. Not changes that are going to, not loads more work, not a different academy, you know, not or a different supply services, but a lot of changes, and just a lot bigger ecosystem is going to start emerging. And you're in the right place at the right time. Let's just say that. I'm not going to give it away, but we will be talking more about that at the event on the day. Okay. So we want to set the compass for 2026, right? So what we're focusing on tonight is we want to make sure that we've got a laser focused approach, making it crystal clear to trade partners and academy members what to expect, as I've just said, over the coming months on not just as a business, but on these streams, as I've just mentioned, what we're going to be doing on the streams. And as a business, I want you to start really thinking about KBB Supply Services now as the digital trade account. Yeah, because ultimately that is what KBB Supply Services is. It is the digital trade account. It isn't anything other. You know, we're not on every street corner. We're not at Howden's. That's what it is. It's an app in your pocket. So make sure that you've got the app downloaded. If you've looked at the app, if you've not looked at the app recently, you need to have a look at it, because it's quite different now. It's a lot easier to read. It's a lot easier to navigate. There's more stuff in there. We're trying to make it very focused around the app, so you've got everything that you need on the go. And your suggestions for improvement are always welcome. So always let us know what you think about that. So we're thinking of KB Supply Services as your digital trade account is really important. Remember that you don't need to drive. Fitters that still think that, oh, well, I can drive to the corner and pick it up from somewhere. Like, the fact that you would consider getting in your van to drive somewhere to pick something up proves that you're still thinking like a tradesperson. And what we're trying to do here is get you thinking like a business person. That's why we launched KB Supply Services in its current format without worrying about, oh, well, we're not on every street corner, because I knew that the right people that are ready to think like business people will always see the benefit of, all right, well, I can't drive and get it, and it might be a bit of a pain in the ass, but it's also a good thing, because then I'm not going to be fucking I'm not going to need to resist driving out all the time and wasting my time. If we've got to wait another day or two to get something to site, at the end of the day, it's not usually, there's worse things that happen in life, basically, so it's really important to get that in your head, and as you all know, we buy from multiple suppliers, you know who they are. So we're not trying to be a manufacturer. We are a buying group. We buy on your behalf at better rates, usually than what you can get it for. And even if it's something around what you can get it for with some of the suppliers, it's the convenience of it all being in one place. It's been built for people who want to have businesses in this industry. And again, a lot of people say they want to be off the tools and have a business, but then they refuse to think like a business person. And this is not something that is, the hand doesn't go into that glove, I'm afraid. So again, just remember that this year is about solidifying that digital trade account. And then with regards to the academy, it's the completion of the ecosystem. I'll be covering, obviously, like I've said numerous times, we'll be covering this at the event. But it's time, I feel a bit weird about this, to be honest, because we've been building this ecosystem for 4 years. I don't even know what it is. What is it, 2022-ish when we started? So we're in our 4th year of sort of going at this hard. And what's really funny is when you're building something, it's like a bit fun. You know what I mean? It's stressful, but it's fun. Now, there's a point in business where you go, it's sort of like after the next few months, the ecosystem's sort of done. So where I've always had new things to tell you, and there'll always be new things and exciting things to say and improvements that we'll make. But I feel a bit like a little bit sad, because I'm just like, well, when I tell you what's happening at the event, and when I sort of hand everything over, I've said to Lee and like the guys, I said, I feel a bit weird about this, because I feel like after I've handed all this over and gone, right, here's your digital trade account, your app, all the new services and the media wall brochures and all the things that we're launching there, I'm looking at that going, yeah, we can always improve it, but there's not really much more to build. Do you know what I mean? You've sort of got everything you need there now. And the same is about to happen with the academy, where once we have launched Inner Circle and Gold level properly in a few weeks' time, and all the things that comes with that, and the benefits of it, and all the rest of it, which it's bigger than you think. This, by the way, so you'll, like I said, you're going to find out. It's a bit like once I've done that, I'm going to feel a bit not lost, but yeah, a little bit sort of. I don't know. I think all I can really do at that point is guide you and watch you and sort of help you where I can, because you know the big announcements of like the next new thing and all that it will quieten down a little bit on that front. Do you get what I mean? Because the ecosystem's there. It's sort of built at that point. You can see everything from beginner to silver member to Inner Circle to gold. You've got a really well-structured path to walk at this point, whereas at the minute you can only go to silver, and again, we've been dripping out these packages over the last 6 to 12 months where we've been hinting at changes, and now the changes are coming to fruition. But once them changes are in, the whole ecosystem is sort of there, and I feel a bit like a bit nervous. It's weird, I don't know. I just think like we've always had, like, it's like when you've had you don't want to sound soppy, but it's like, when you've had your kids with you and they've been like, hanging off every word, and it's like, you're trying to teach them things, but they're not getting it, and then you teach them again, and then eventually they get it and they start walking, and then they don't need you as much. But it's not that they don't need you, but they're just finding their own way. And I think what we've built here is a world and an ecosystem where people will be able to just go in and find their own way. Yeah, I think that's what it is that the dependency will come off a little bit, and people will decide, I want to stay at silver. Some will go, I want to just be a beginner. Some will go, I'm going to get to Inner Circle and go for gold. And get all the bells and whistles and the things that come with that, which obviously I will reveal on the 16th what that's all about. So it is a bit of a weird moment for me, where I'm like, after the 16th, when we've done this, probably got a couple of weeks after that of revamping the Academy website and a few bits like that. And, and there will be projects to do. I'm not saying doing fuck all. I'm not saying I'm taking my foot off the gas at all, but it is a case of, after that, like, it's up to everyone then to sort of climb that ladder and get on with it and do it. Do you know what I mean? Because there isn't the next trick coming, do you understand what I mean? So yeah, I feel a bit like conflicted at the moment. I feel happy about what we're doing, really proud and happy, but then it's like the end of one journey and the start of another, and it's a bit of a weird transition because we've been so deep in the fight. And I think some of it is trying to convince people as well. We have spent a bit of time trying to convince everyone that, come on, you can do better, you can earn better, you're worth more, we believe in you, blah, 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 blah. And I think that the weight of the academy now and the momentum that is naturally happening, and with the trade partner program is still going, and still doing well. I feel like everything's just moving under its own weight at the moment, and it's a bit like I said, when your kids don't need you anymore, it's a bit like, okay, I just watch what happens then, hey, and people will still come and ask for help, I'm sure. But yeah, it's just strange, isn't it? It's just weird, because when you've been in something for so long and it's so emotionally tiring as well, when you've built something from the ground up and built a framework, and then you've developed that framework for people to follow it, and then you've really struggled to get them to fucking follow it, and then you finally get them to follow it, and then you give them this ecosystem, and then suddenly you're like, right, okay, sort of done it now, and now it's just a matter of trying to take care of everyone that's in that. So it's good, but it's weird, and I'm really excited for your journeys, and I'm buzzing for the 16th. I'll be glad when it's over, because Christmas, I tell you now, I've not had a single, like, I don't drink anyway that much, as you know, and but I have literally not stopped over Christmas. I've not had one drop of alcohol for like months, not even a sniff of it over Christmas at all. But normally I would have a glass of wine at some point, but building all this stuff has not let up. It has been absolutely relentless. So let's move on anyway. Let's get into the content because there's still quite a bit to get through. So right now, what am I seeing? I want to just go through a few bits. Right now is the time to be positioning yourself as an independent and not a sole trader. So I want to cover this a little bit. And I'll be covering this more at the event as well, but you've got to stop thinking, especially if you're a trade partner as well, if you're an Academy member, because as an Academy member, you are classed as an independent. You've got to start drawing this difference in your head that a sole trader is a sole trader, and that's where most of us start. But when we move to the Academy ecosystem, you're not a sole trader anymore, but you're not a showroom, but you are an independent. And I think this is something that psychologically you've got to start accepting. You've got to stop thinking small, and you've got to stop prioritizing costs over value. 2026 is where value needs to be really understood properly, once and for all, understanding that what you're charging customers for is value, not cost, is really, really important. The world has changed. The country is changing, sometimes not for the better. And if you're still fighting, on a race to the bottom, the future's bleak. The future's very bleak. And if you're still sat there, if you can't understand the difference between value and cost right now, then I'm not going to go through it all right now. I will cover it at the event a little bit more, but it's in the Academy, and Google it. Ask ChatGPT as a kitchen installer. What is value and cost? What are customers looking for? I'm not spending another half an hour going into that, but I'll tell you now, this is where a lot of people just. Because when you don't understand value and cost, you don't ever learn to price properly. And it's sort of like people always go on about pricing and margin and all that shit. But there's no point in even having that conversation, because if you don't understand value, you're not going to know how to price properly. Psychologically, the seeds have not been planted for you to price properly. Because if you don't understand value, you'll never get profit. Do you get what I mean? You can't have the profit. You'll never have profit if you don't understand value. Does that make sense? So if you want to start getting profit on your jobs, you've got to start understanding value and knowing that actually customers will pay for this, customers will pay for that, and it's worth that. And everyone else is fucking charging it. And if I want to compete with them, I need to charge it because I need to survive as a business as well. And that's what it all basically boils down to. It's not about ripping people off. It's about surviving in the marketplace. And without profit, you ain't doing that, mate. So that's something that I want you to sort of take home and take it to the bank. And this year is all about helping trade partners, Academy members, get there. And what I'm going to do after the event is obviously revamp the whole KBB University. So those of you that should know what the KBB University is, it's the free learning platform that's on the Supply Services website. That's going to get completely revamped. The KBB Academy website is new. The new one's coming. That's going to get loads of stuff done. And obviously we're adding new layers into KBB Academy to help you get noticed for the value that you offer and not the cost that you can do jobs for. You're never going to be famous for being cheap, right? You've got to be famous for the value that you offer. You're not going to be famous for being cheap. Who wants to be famous for being cheap? If you're famous for being cheap in your area, you're just basically going to die poor. And that is not why you go into business. You go into business to make proper money. You go into business to provide for your family. You go into business to offer value to customers. Customers are grateful of that value. They do not feel ripped off if you offer genuine value. And charging what it's worth is not a crime. Yeah? So if you only do one thing this week, then do this. Take what I've just said and start working on your mindset. This is where it all starts and ends, especially with the cost and value equation. And this does apply to everyone. Charging the right money for the job and offering value, making actual profit. If you don't start doing this in 2026, you're doomed. You're doomed because you're not going to get a sudden influx of knowledge into your brain somewhere. Everybody wants money, right? But money equals profit. But profit is the understanding of value to start. At its root, profit starts with understanding the value. If you don't understand the value, you won't price it properly. If you don't price it properly, you won't make your margin. If you don't make a margin, you don't make profit. If you don't make profit, you basically don't survive. You live on the breadline forever. And this is the root cause of this, is that understanding the cost and the value of things, and knowing the difference between the two of them in 2026. If you're still sat here at the beginning of 2026, not understanding that, you're in deep trouble, I'm afraid. But literally a few Google clicks away, you could solve that problem immediately. Okay? So I hope that gets us primed, ready for, you know, the rest of the year, basically. I mean, I'm hoping that has sank in. Yeah, I hope that sank in, because if it doesn't sink in now, it is never gonna. It's never gonna. Okay. So KBB Academy updates. What's coming? What's changing? Inner Circle and Gold. I've mentioned this. Will be revealed more at the event. But basically, one of the key changes that we're making, what we've said last year, was Inner Circle meetings, right? Okay. Inner Circle's evolved a little bit since then, not a lot, but a little bit. So Inner Circle will, the way to get into Inner Circle will not be you have to attend the meeting, right? Okay, I know I did say that originally, and we're not backtracking on that completely, but what I didn't want to also do was create bottlenecks. So if we have to wait until the meetings are only every 3 months, and it was a bit like, well, hang on a minute, if we only have a meeting every 3 months, and that's going to be an immediate problem if someone's got to wait 10 weeks to get to the meeting to then get access to Inner Circle. So the way that Inner Circle is going to actually work, and we'll be covering this more at the event, but just for your information, is once you've basically become a Wix trusted trader and you have you know, done the stuff that you need to do to get into Inner Circle, basically, which is being a Wix trusted trader is definitely one of them. Academy Plus is preferred, and just basically making sure that you're using your KB Spy Service trade account properly. So obviously we can see what you're doing. And that is important, because some people in the academy sometimes buy product from somewhere else, but they will never get to gold, simply because if we don't have any sort of visibility of what you're supplying to that customer, all these things, and this will all make sense later, if we don't have any visibility of what you're actually doing as an operating business, we're not really going to endorse you ourselves, if that makes sense, because it would be really risky for us to do that. And we have no idea what you're doing. So there's a few bits of criteria there to get to Inner Circle. It ain't mega. It's not that it's not that deep. It's stuff that people naturally have done without us ever pushing it anyway. There's already a really good number of people that we're ready to push into Inner Circle over the next few weeks. But Inner Circle will be like a holding area where there's a few bits to do, tighten everything up in your business, and then you'll get you'll basically, Inner Circle's a stepping stone to get the gold recognition, which I'll be revealing more later. So that is a massive change in the academy. If you want to stay at silver, you don't need to worry about anything. Don't think that, like, you know, oh, there's more pressure coming my way. There isn't. This is just opening the door to the next progression, which will be natural. None of this will be forced, because you won't be able to get to Inner Circle unless you've naturally progressed. So it's not something that you can just come in and do. It's got to be something that you work towards, and it's not, you don't work towards it because that's where you want to get. You just naturally work towards it. Do you know what I mean? It'll just naturally happen. You can't force these things. It'll just naturally happen. But there's going to be a fair number of people that are already there. So when we open the floodgates to this, there will be a fair number of people in the academy that naturally go into Inner Circle straight away, and then a few weeks later should get their gold stamp accreditation and all the fantastic benefits and recognition that comes with that, which I'll be talking more about at the event. So they're the main things. And then the Inner Circle face-to-face meeting. So what will happen is, when you get invited into Inner Circle, is you will get access to the modules. Yeah, so there's now just a few lessons in there. You'll get access to that part of the academy. Basically, once you've started your Witch, is sort of the gate where we're saying, once you get to the Witch, starting the application for the endorsement, will probably let you in at that point, depending on where else other things are up to. But that won't be dependent on attending the meeting. Yeah, so the meeting option will still be there, but the way that we're looking at the meetings is, some businesses just do need to have a day in the room with me. There are some businesses that I've just looked at and gone, I've heard a bit of noise around this, and it's not always stuff you can pick up on a check-in. Most of the time it is, but And sometimes it's, you know, something you're doing it over WhatsApp's a pain in the ass. And you can't beat just getting a few people around the table for the day, get some lunch, and let's just talk business, and let's see where you're up to, and let's really get the North Star back in the sky. But the inner circle meetings are there to help. They're not there to interrogate. They're not there to pressure. They're not there to do anything other than give the businesses that we think need to be in that room that day the opportunity to get closer to me and my team and ask some really good questions and get some really helpful feedback. And obviously, work on the dashboards and stuff that are in Academy Plus, because again, Academy Plus has professional project management dashboards, and again, we will use the inner circle meetings and feedback in that room that day to develop them dashboards further. So again, that's a big change for 2026. I'm telling you half of the story there. The other half of the story I'll be telling you at the event or shortly after if you're not there at the event. So again, and like I've said to you before, this is natural progression for businesses that want the ultimate recognition and future KBB industry alignment as being seen as the best. So I think you need to take this seriously. You need to be really listening up for what's happening in the Academy over the next few weeks and months. I'll give a little something away, right? I'll give a little something away. The Academy and its members are just about to get taken very seriously. Up to now, we've sort of been the, who are they sort of thing, who's this new kid on the block? And I'm telling you now, in 2026, being a member is going to be a big deal. And the Academy itself is going to be seen by the rest of the industry as something that no one else has got. No one else has achieved what we have actually achieved. And it's going to be quite a seismic shift in the way that things start to work for the Academy and its members, because there'll be a big difference as well. Just to give a little more something away, there will be a big difference between a gold member and a silver member. And, to be aligned with us publicly, because we will be publicly a lot more out there, but only our gold members will be seen sort of next to us, because obviously you got to tick these boxes to get there. But if I was you, if you want to be getting the ultimate recognition and benefiting from the marketing efforts that we put in, I don't want to give too much away, but we will be marketing ourselves a bit differently in 2026, and people will take notice of it, including consumers. So you are going to want to be on the gold side of the Academy if you want to benefit from that long term, like 100%, because the credibility that's going to come with being a gold member is indisputable. It's indisputable. And again, that's giving a little bit of something away, a little bit, but I wanted to make it clear that we're not pissing around. We're not pissing around there. We want to change the industry. We're going to change the industry, but we've got to set some proper standards and do it properly. And that is really what we're trying to do with this gold membership. Okay. So, right, where are we up to here now? So, like I've said, take it seriously. So the other thing that's coming in the Academy, which is another update, which is another quite a big update as well, is you've all, in step 3 of the 12 steps, we are adding in a sheet for you to update your installation prices. So in your trade portal, everybody should be using the trade portal. Again, if you're one of the people that doesn't use us all the time for supply, then again, this is going to be another reason why it's difficult for us to sort of coordinate business with you, because you're not using the trade portal properly. Now, if you're using the trade portal, but you're putting your installation costs in there and it's a bit of a pain in the ass, or you're putting lumps in and all the rest of it, we're aware of this problem, right? So what we're going to do is in step 3 of the Academy, this should be in before the event. It should be in this week, to be honest. But what will be in step 3 is a spreadsheet that you put your costs into, right? So you put your costs into a spreadsheet. There'll be a tutorial on how to do it. You'll need to spend a little bit of time on it. We will give you the steer on costs. There'll be a set of costs already in there. You can either say, yeah, I'll use them, or change them. It can take you 10 minutes or 2 hours. It's up to you. But what we will then do is update your own trade portal. So when you're creating your quotes, you'll be able to add your own installation costs in, and it'll be bespoke to what you want to charge. Okay. So that's another thing that's coming as a big Academy change, which is, again, I think something that you've all been asking for, the ones that are using the trade portal. We know it's been a problem for quite a while, but thanks for persevering with us. But again, Academy updates, quite a long one that, because there's some big ones coming there. There won't always be, but yeah, that is what it is. Okay, right. So I'm ready to bring in our guest, my co-host, who is the head of the digital trade account, should we say. So let's bring him in. Please welcome Tom. Right, so Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, mate.
You're glad to be back?
Feeling refreshed. Social battery's a little bit drained from seeing family, but we're ready to go, ready to face the music.
Yeah, well, it's a good job in it, because we're off to a busy start, and just to add insult to injury, WhatsApp's decided to cause us a lot of problems this week, hasn't it? So I think we'll start with that and just firstly apologise, and we'll get it back to normal as soon as possible, won't we?
Yeah, so obviously the spike in submissions, which is great to see. Obviously people have kept busy across the Christmas period, but WhatsApp has done us no favours. But we'll be back up and running properly later this week, and things will be, normal programming will resume next week. So a little bit of a hiccup at the start, but rather it now than middle of the year, and we can get back on track and get things moving.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Right, so I've already covered a few bits already earlier on, before you joined us. Obviously, just letting the guys know that the digital trade account is going to be a term that we throw around a lot more this year, because that is what we are. The pushing of the app usage and the trade portal. And obviously on these streams for Wednesday night, every 2 weeks, KBB Supply Services, we'll be getting a few updates from yourself moving forward, just to make sure that, we're getting the right information and the guys know who they're dealing with, as well as not just see my face all the time. So, unfortunately, mate, you're stuck with us now. Every Wednesday, 7 o'clock.
And if people have seen me now, I'm in the limelight.
That's it. You won't be able to go to Tesco's ever again. This is it now. Your life's over.
There's no escape from the kitchens.
There's not. Right, so let's jump into it then. So let's jump into trade account. First of all, what's changing? So talk us through new products that are incoming.
So imminently we have the new catalogs going live. So people who are already using the trade portal will be familiar with the catalogs up at the top of your quotes. We obviously have the 2026 pricing, which is going to be going live imminently. It's just with the technical guides at the moment. And included in that will be the new Quattro range. It is an MFC cutting edge product. I think there's like 35, 36 different finishes in there, which you'll be very happy to hear. It's competitively priced. There's lots of good options in there, a lot of good wood tones and concretes, and a lot of things that people have already been asking for. Obviously, on the back of that, there is some discontinuations, in the product offering. So just be aware that Amalfi's going and Linear is also going. Obviously, Quattro is superseding Linear. It's a very similar product. So just be wary of that. And if you are quoting anything in that, start speaking to your customers now and sort of changing their minds on those. Like I say, the Quattro and the Linear are very similar. I don't think they'll even notice a difference. But if they're in Amalfi, you might have to pick a slightly different shaker. Probably like a Reva would be fairly similar in product to the Amalfi. So that's what's changing with the products.
Cool. And so basically, what is it about Linear Vero as well? What's going on with that?
Oh, it's just obviously Linear's going, so you can't have it in Linear Vero as well.
Right, yeah.
The Quattro will replace that, so you'll have Quattro Vero instead.
That's why we brought you in, you see.
The expert kitchens.
It's always been really well noted that everyone said to me like a few times, you can't keep telling everyone that you don't care about product.
Oh, is that why you brought me in? Pass it over.
That's it. I said, well, I can't lie. At the end of the day, I want to help people grow the business. So one of the points of doing this is that obviously you'll be much better at me than getting these things across. As you've just seen, I've completely missed the fucking point of that. So, right. So moving on to the next bit, which is following products, and probably more important and interesting is brochures and assets. So again, what have we got coming up? Because I know there's been a few, there's a lot of noise before Christmas around offices, media walls, bedrooms, all that type of stuff. So what's going on there?
Yeah, so hand in hand with the new catalogs going live on the trade portal, we will also have the brochures corresponding with those going live. So people will be able to start showing off the new product, which I know a lot of people have already been asking about. And then obviously, like you mentioned, and hand in hand with that is we're going to start launching the media wall brochure as well, offices, etc. So these are all your sort of gap fillers, bits to help with the cash flow, and sort of you can propose those whilst you're already in the property doing other work. I think there's been a lot of interest in those so far. We've had plenty of submissions over the Christmas break for the media walls, particularly.
Yeah.
There's definitely been a lot big appetite for it, and we're happy to see it. I think it's a good opportunity for some people to help with the cash flow, manage things through, and some nice easy wins. Again, for anyone not familiar with the media wall product, it is the kitchen product sort of reimagined. So we're just presenting it in a better way for you to give to your customer. So it'll be nice and easy for you to sell to them, and familiar with yourself that you already know what the product is. It's easy for them to put together. So that's where we're going live with the brochures.
But it's interesting that because I sort of said like a few months ago when we first started talking about media walls, I had a feeling that media walls would be a big point of interest for consumers because there's not really much out there. And, you know, I think we've already had, like, I know I've had one Academy member send me a message and say he's had an inquiry for a media wall and they had a 10 to 15,000 pound budget for it. So, not sure how I'm not sure how I'm going to do that honestly, but anyway, I'm not sure how we dealt with it. But
Well,
I think
you're right. There's a market for it, right? And there's no big players in the industry really tackling it. And you know, I've got the space for one. I'm sure you have space for a media wall as well. Plenty of people already have them, and, and we're not reinventing a new product. It's an MDF box at the end of the day. It's just how you approach it and how you get a little bit more creative with it, and how you can sell that to your customer. And like I say, that the profit margin potential on these things is decent as well. It's not a time waster. It's a gap filler. It's healthy.
No, because at the end of the day, it's like the kitchen's a great, obviously, a very expensive room in the house, but surely to God, your living room is just as important because you spend a lot of time in there. And if you can make your living room look amazing with a media wall, and there's not much out there, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of people would probably not even thought to have a media wall. And that's where I think the cross-sell opportunity comes in, where if you're in someone's property and it's like, I'm not saying you should tell a customer that the living room looks shit, but you could, say, oh, just so you know, we do media walls. You got to be careful how you say it. But I think there's a massive opportunity there.
Well, I think nail on the head there is, I think people want to spend their money where they spend their time. And a lot of people spend a lot of time in the living room. So why would you not spend money to make it look nice, have a nice environment to be in? Same reason you spend lots of money on your kitchen, right? It's where you spend your time. So I think there's a good opportunity for people to get at, and evidently by the fact that there's been plenty of submissions already.
Yeah, no, I think the signs, the green signals so early on because we are bringing out the proper media wall brochure as well, aren't we, and all the rest of it. So there will be a lot more stuff to supplement the service. I think it's exciting that. So, right, what else have we got coming up with brochures and assets?
So something that's about to go live, so just as a bit of a service update from the supply side, is we're going to be going live with account numbers. So this might sound like a really boring topic, but trust me, it's going to make people's lives easier. Yeah, don't try not to fall asleep, mate.
I'll be asleep in 20 seconds.
It's super boring and very operationally minded, but what it means for the guys is that rather than having to fill in all their details at the start, and everyone gets bored of that, you just punch in an account number and we get all your details ready to go to speed up the design process. This is obviously impact on your remedials, anything like that. It'll just tidy that all up. It's just an account number and it tidies all of that stuff away for you. So you don't have to fill in all the forms, because I know some people have had gripes that every time they load up a form, they have to put in their name, their business, etc. Guess what? We'll give you one field, you'll stick your account number in, and there's everything. It just speeds everything up for them and keeps it more consistent for us. So as boring as it is, I think it'll have a decent impact on people, and those will be going live. They're getting tested right now and be going live shortly. So people will expect to receive those.
Yeah. So in the real world, what that means is that hopefully when you're filling in a quote request in the app or an amendment, you're basically going to put your account number in there, aren't you?
Yeah, so you don't have to fill your name, business
Yeah.
name, etc. You just put your account number in, and this will obviously speed up design submissions for them. So it should be easier to do out and about rather than having to type it all out in front of a laptop.
Yeah.
It'll also speed up, like you say, removals, etc. Any form that you wouldn't already fill in now is what will take out a couple of pages worth of that form fill in just with one number instead. So
Yeah. It does make sense.
as boring as it is.
Yeah, I was taking the piss because I think that I was looking at the forms that we have the other day, and I thought it is a bit boring, isn't it? Doing your name, email every fucking time, you know. So I do get it. It's still boring, but I do get it.
we have to get it from somewhere, right? So hopefully this is takes some of the pain out of it when people are doing it.
Yeah, we've got to do it. Right. So on brochures, what should people be using? Let's move on to this little topic here.
Yeah, so some of the assets that we have out there that I think are maybe a little underused is probably the trade index. So we've shown this at the open day, which again is something I would encourage people to come to if they're unfamiliar with the trade portal. And people were shocked that they didn't even know it existed. So one of the things within the trade portal, so you've got to log in on your laptop or your phone or however you want to access it, is called the trade index. And there's one for each range. Included as part of that is every product that's in that range is available there, as well as the codes for putting them into your quotes. So for me, as an example, if I'm checking a quote, I can have the trade index open on one screen and the quote open on the other. And then if there's anything I need to add or change, the codes are right there to go. So as an example, if you're checking through one of your quotes and you want to add some extra panels or take some out or change a panel, you think rather than a base unit and a wall unit panel, I'll have a tall one. Guess what? If you have the index open next to you, the code's just there, ready to use. Aside from speeding that up and getting you more familiar with the trade portal, it's like a bit of a stepping stone for learning the product as well, because you'll familiarize yourself with, this one has tangent cornice, this one doesn't, etc. So it helps plug some of those holes in as well. It's just a little of an underused asset, I think, right now, but for people who are anxious about using the trade portal, I think it's a great tool to build that confidence. Because you don't have to check through the big list of all the codes, you've got all of them to hand. Should make it nice and easy for guys.
Yeah, because I suppose if you just want to make a few minor amendments to your order and you have the trade index, you can sort of do it yourself, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, ultimately, you want to get things moved as fast as possible. You could send us an amendment and we'll just change like 3 codes for you. Well, guess what? Open up that sheet, build your confidence, build your product knowledge, and just change the quote yourself. You could get it done right in the same time it would take you to fill in an amendment form. You can change your quote and have it to your customer, and that's ultimately the strength there.
From experience, I think we'll need to keep reminding people of that. So keep it on the list for
That's what I mean. It's not particularly hidden. Again, a reminder for anyone using the portal: on the left-hand side there is a menu, and within there you'll be able to find trade index or product index as a drop down, and all of the ranges are within there. And if you click on any of them, it opens up a little PDF in another tab. And whilst I'm talking about that side of the trade portal, just a reminder, there's also loads of videos and useful information on there that will help you with utilizing it. Again, we're always happy to help. If people are having particular issues, we can always do a Loom video, but a lot of the help will be found there.
Yeah. So is it worth putting the trade index in the app? I know we might discuss this, but is there anything?
No, we can do. It might be worthwhile for people to have access to it. So maybe it'll be a tweak that we'll add to the app to give them access to those trade indexes. Obviously, they're broken out in individual ranges. So another strength of it is that you're not having to flick through a massive brochure to find the one particular range you're interested in. You just click that one and it gives you all of the information on it.
Yeah. And product codes will already be in the bathroom brochure anyway, won't they?
They are already in the bathroom.
That's simple. Kitchen's just a pain in the ass, aren't they, basically?
Yeah,
so,
the codes are transferable between ranges, and this is the other reason I highlight it, is once you've learned what 1,000 base unit code is, guess what? In every single range, it's the same code. It's just the range that you change. So building that confidence and building that product knowledge is never a bad thing.
And that also explains why it's so easy to order the wrong things.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. So let's not give any more secrets away. Let's move on. Design lead times. Where are we at the moment?
So obviously we covered it right at the start, but we've had a couple of trip-ups at the start of this year. Obviously, as always, there's a Christmas spike. You guys have kept us plenty busy. We've had what did I say earlier? Was it like 30-ish submissions across the weekend into this week? So you guys are stocking them up and waiting for us to come back. So the guys are obviously working hard on turning those around. I'd say just for this week, 72 hours is on average, but we'll get back to them. To be fair, I think that'll probably be the latest. It'll come back to them, and it'll probably come back to them a tad sooner. But I think once we've got through this initial spike and fixed our issues with WhatsApp, we'll be back to normal broadcasting next week with an average of 48.
Cool. So, I mean, and it is worth noting because even I didn't realize how shit the rest of the industry is at designs. When people come back to me and said, "Oh, well, I've been waiting a week or 2 weeks or something for designs," and then we've always strived for this 24 hours, and we do try and keep it as close to that as much as we can. But a bit of when I say I didn't know how shit the rest of the industry was, just because I've not used a lot of the sheds for so long. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah.
I just never did. But then it was funny, like when people were whinge then, "Oh, I've waited 2 days for this design." And it's like, fucking hell, really?
Yeah, I had obviously I do the discovery calls with some of the new guys coming on board, and some of the horror stories you hear. I think the other day was I've waited 2 months for a design. I was like, Christ. The industry has set the bar painfully low. Not that we want to be anywhere near that, but we'll always strive for the best we can turn around. People just be a little understanding when obviously it's like the Christmas period and stuff like that. There will be spikes throughout the year, but we'll always communicate that with everyone so everyone knows where they stand.
Yeah. And like what we've seen a few weeks before Christmas, there's always someone off ill and WhatsApp decides to stop working at the same time to hammer the nail right in, doesn't it?
Oh,
you always get kicked when you're down, don't you?
Loves to strike all at once.
So lead times, where are we at with lead times for product?
So as far as I'm aware, we're just on still on standard returns. Obviously, we've got a bit of a lag, I think, from last year. So some people who ordered pre-Christmas are just getting their stuff post-Christmas. And obviously, it's the second day back for kitchen supply. So standard 7 working days for the stock product and 4 to 6 weeks. Confirmed at point of order for any paint to order or made to measure. I would guess, obviously, I'm not ordering one right this second, but I would guess it's closer to 6 weeks right now. I would imagine by next week it's probably going to start edging closer and closer to the 4, because I think we were at 4 just before Christmas. So I think we've just got to churn through the paint to order stuff and then get back to where we were.
Cool. Right. So with regards to, obviously, a couple of things I want to keep in this segment when we're doing this stream is I want to for everyone's benefit, for our benefit, and for because we do, I think we sometimes forget to mention that the KBB Supply Services motto is "Your perfect partner." Mm-hmm. So we need to work as a partnership with our trade partners and Academy members alike, if we're to make life easy for each other and make it a successful venture together. So what helps designers?
So I think it's a really good point here, is the focus on the partnership here. So it's very easy for me to just give a blank answer of good information, but I'm going to pick out a point of, here's something in particular that the designers find really helpful, and that is photos of the space. Obviously we need a 2D plan. That's good. We need clear and concise information from your customer. That's good. But those are the things I assume are already coming. Photos of the space are something that some guys do that some don't. And I think what's really powerful about that is remember that the designers have not been to that space. They are just seeing what you present to them. So if you give them a plan, that's all they know. So if you give them photos of the environment, photos of, putting into the next room, is there a dining room next to it? Because these guys can replicate that within their designs. And for Mrs. Smith, that's so powerful because she's not just seeing that one space. She's like, oh, I can see there's my living room. There's, there's that pipe or whatever. And they need the photos to be able to understand the context of the design.
Do we have on the design submission a loom link? To be able to
submitting looms, yes. So there is also a loom as well.
Yeah. So because if I'm an Academy member, especially, or even a trade partner, loom is obviously the video software that we tell people to use for you know, making videos for quotes and all the rest of it. But if you're on site, the Loom app on your phone, I mean, if I'm doing a survey and I'm a trade partner right now or an Academy member, I'm getting Loom open on my phone and doing a Loom video and then talking through the job properly. Because again, if you give shit information to a designer and we see enough of it, let's be honest, you know, because I think what we're dancing around here a little bit is the fact that some of the information we get is absolutely shit. And when it doesn't come back how people wanted it to look, it's like, well, you have not given us what you should have given us in the first place, and now you're whinging because it doesn't look how you wanted it to look. And we're not mind readers. I know you're being polite about it, but I'll just, you know, say it as it is. Because I've been the guy on site and I was really anal about making sure that, you know, that person that was doing my design knew everything. He had pictures of every angle, he had a video, he had a 2D plan. So if he came back and did it a shit design, I could nail him to the cross and say, that's a shit design, what the fuck are you playing at? But what's annoying is you get people saying, that's a fucking shit design, and you've given us shit information. Do you get what I mean? So shit plus shit equals shit. Do you get what I mean? So
you bang on with it. You know, again, reiterate, the designers are not in this space. They need as much information as possible. And like I say, whilst photos seem like a daft thing to cover, or videos are great as well, talk us through it. The better the information, the better the result. And that translates not just into that initial design, but if you think the better the information you get out of your job, the less amendments you're going to have, because you've given a clearer picture of what they're wanting, and the customer understands what they're wanting a lot more, you're going to get to that sale a lot faster. I can directly correlate that the people who give the good information sell more kitchens and sell them faster, because they're not doing 7 amendments, they're doing 2, and then the customer's happy.
Cool. So we've said what helps designers, what doesn't help designers?
Well, ties hand in hand with what we were just saying. Lack of information or contradicting information. There have been instances where a scribbling down of the specification versus the specification you're putting in on the form doesn't match up, and the guys are obviously checking against all of this. Again, remember, these guys, bless them, are working through quite a lot of designs every day, so sometimes the brain gets tired and they might miss something, but they won't miss it if it's all the same. It's all, you know, in line with one another. And even if they do spot it, just think about the impact that it has on your business, because we will then have to ask the questions, and it just, you know, we've got to wait for you to respond to then get back to your design. So the clearer and the more concise the information, the better, you know, experience you're going to have, because the better experience we can provide, because we can only work off what's been given to us.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, again, let's just tie it into the bigger picture. We're trying to change an industry, and we're not going to change an industry if we're giving consumers a shit experience. Now, if you're doing a survey, and even if you're doing a good survey, you're not giving the information to the designer properly, it might have to go back in for an amend. It might become a problem. It will delay getting stuff to the customer. In that time, if something's being elongated longer than it should be, and it starts to look like you don't know what you're doing because you're asking daft questions again, you're not going to, like I say, you're just jeopardizing your chances of the sale. That's another job that you lose, then the big boys take off you. And this is where these habits are really important, aren't they? To start getting into doing really good surveys, making sure the information's before you press send. Because if you press send on that form and something's wrong, it is going to have consequences. It is going to have consequences, and it might just be a message and it's cleared up very quickly, but it could turn into confusion on the wrong day. At the end of the day, because I always say, if it lands at 9 o'clock in the morning and there's a clear error, the designer's probably going to pick it up. If you get picked up at 5 o'clock in the afternoon when they're tired, it might not get picked up. You know, and I know that sounds like, oh, it should always be consistent, but we're talking about humans here. We're talking about human behavior. And it's funny because I was watching something about courts and how people who have hearings in the morning generally get off of it, and people who have hearings in the afternoon get fucking life sentences. So it's like, if it happens in that setting, it's going to happen everywhere else. Do you know what I mean? So there's another tip: get them in the morning. Right. Okay. Brilliant. So some good stuff in there. And again, we're trying to set the tone for 2026 here, really.
Mhm.
So digital tools. Let's because again, we want to really push the app and the trade portal this year. We want to be the digital trade account. That's what we need to be pushing, and the guys need to be using, because this is in your pocket. It's 24/7 access. You don't need to go to the trade account. You don't need to wait till someone's open. You've got everything you need in your pocket. So let's talk about feature of the week. So in the trade portal, what would you say one of the good features are that we can talk about this week?
So it's first things first, just covering off on the trade portal. The new catalogs are going live, as I've said previously, and just so people who do use the portal understand how the impact of that is going to be, it shouldn't impact them in any way. So it should be fairly pain-free. Your quotes are just going to get automatically updated to the new pricing and the new catalogs. Obviously, if there is any issues, do get in contact with us. It's quite a complex bit of kit, so something could go wrong. I really doubt it, but we are always available to sort of help people through that. And yeah, so just be aware that the new catalogs are going live and familiarize yourself with those. Again, it's no surprise that the people who are utilizing the trade portal and utilizing it well are selling more kitchens. I think it ties hand in hand with understanding the product, understanding your business, and feeling confident when you're out there. So again, linking back to that trade index, and I think it's probably good, like we've said, to get it on the app. I think familiarizing you and being knowledgeable of the product exudes confidence when you're speaking to your customers. And then obviously that confidence bleeds straight into the trade portal, and you'll convert more because you don't have to wait around, for us to get your part of the queue. You can just get cracking with it. So that's what I'm saying. Focus on and look at the quotes, understand your product. And it seems daft because, everyone's a fitter, right? We know how kitchens go together. We know those, but it's not the fitting side that is. It's the sales confidence that comes with it.
Yeah, and if the sales confidence ain't there, the fit ain't happening.
Yeah.
Or you'll be fitting it for someone else.
Yeah. So that's where we're at with that.
Cool. And then on the app, obviously the app feature that we'll just slot in there then is that we'll get the trade index on the app.
Yeah.
We'll leave that for this week, and we'll get the trade index in the app. If you can, I'll drop Ariana a line on that, and if you can just make sure that gets done as well, I'd appreciate that. Right, so our reflection piece that we want to put in. So what have we seen recently? What's actually going on? Trends.
So this is something that I noticed towards the back end of the year, and I think I fed back to yourself and other members of the team, and it's stayed consistent over Christmas. Very happy to hear that there is an increase in the quality of the submissions. We've seen the conversion rate for guys going up, and again, I keep going on about it. There's no missing it. The quality of the submission has a direct impact on the sale of the job, understanding what the customer wants, etc. So the quality of the information coming through has been increasing as the year's gone on, and really peaked in Christmas, and it's stayed consistent across the holidays. So it's a bit of a pat on the back for everyone who's been submitting their stuff. You're doing great. There's a few new people who aren't at that stage yet, but you'll get there quite rapidly because obviously all the tools available. It's hard not to. And then when you start succeeding at the start, guess what? That follows all the way through to the end. So succeed from the front.
So although we sort of hammered that a minute ago about improving the quality of that, then the fact is that for the people that have been here for a while, we are seeing that get better over time. But
yes.
I think it's really important that we pick up where we left off last year, and anyone new coming in sort of, doesn't get sloppy, just because it's new. Let's make sure the submissions are clean.
Yeah. So, and more than anything, obviously, it's always good to have a point of reflection and give good feedback where it's due. The guys have been putting through great submissions, and it's a bit of a pat on the back for yourselves for the guys putting the hard work in. I'm sure they already know who they are because they're the ones I'm talking about, and this will resonate with them that they're succeeding. And if it's not, feel free to reach out and we can help you with that submission. We can give you examples, and you can have and here's a blanket example of what we sort of expect from the guys to succeed.
Yeah, and obviously on the next bit, what we said, what we're improving, we've really already covered that with what we're improving on the forms, aren't we, with the account numbers?
Yeah, we're just trying to speed things up for everyone. Again, it's all about that consistency and making sure that everything sort of flows together nicely and it's fast.
Yeah, and what can we work better on together between us and our customers and trade
Yeah, so
partners?
I think we've focused a lot on the front end of things. I think through this segment, um, which is obviously all the design side, etc. But the other side, obviously, supply is the supply bit. And one of the things that we seem to be struggling with at the moment, and as a point for people to sort of take on board, is Helen and on the operations side, they really need people to check orders when it arrives, check them promptly. We obviously want to. Remedials are the number one causer of jobs dragging on. Got there. So check them promptly. The sooner you check them and get the feedback to Helen, we can get those turned around super fast for you. So by the time you're fitting them, the doors could turn up. So it doesn't have a consequence on you in any way. And I know sometimes that's easier to say than do, but if someone's got to be there to collect that delivery, just check it through. No transport is perfect, and especially with like this time of year, things will get knocked. The weather's crap, so everyone's it could be impacted. Check for any damages, etc. It just happens. It's the nature of the industry, but it's how we sort of resolve it. That's what I would say is one of our strengths. So the sooner you can get that information to us, we'll resolve it promptly, and then you can get on with your jobs. So it's that collaboration that we've talked about, that partnership. We will work hard if they work hard.
Yeah, but just something obviously, as I will dig a little bit deeper on these things, is what do we expect from people? What is the service level agreement that's fair? That once something's on site, what is the, because everyone will have a, because I remember myself being on site, and my rule with this, and I sort of came to this agreement because I use the same suppliers that we're currently using now, even when I was, doing my thing back in the day, and so I know how it works. And if something's got a scratch on it, right, and it's not been checked within what is the timeline here?
So we just ask 7 working days because that gives us ample time to get it resolved. Obviously, people.
But what I'm saying is that okay that something's been on site for 6 days and then it gets noticed, or we're saying that there's a window that we need to check in that's smaller than that?
The sooner the better, obviously.
Yeah.
I know what sites are like. I've worked in the industry. You've worked in the industry. We all have. We know what some of these sites can be like. They're a bit of a minefield, and it's not always necessarily just yourself that's been involved in the work going on in some of these properties. If it can be, that's beneficial because you're in full control. But other people will interact with this product. We obviously are working in partnership. We will always be very understanding of things that will go wrong. It's the nature of the beast, right? But as time goes on, if it's 4 weeks down the line, there's a different conversation to be had. So this is why we sort of say you've got to check them promptly, not just stick it in a warehouse somewhere for 4 weeks, or at least order it for the right time, because things will happen.
Yeah, because I think there's been instances where things are on site for quite a long time, and then I've opened the sink and there's a chunk missing out of it, or there's a big dint in something, or and because obviously we're not manufacturing, we're not in the warehouse per se, so it's not that it would make a difference anyway, because there is a line, isn't there, basically, where you go, come on, once it's been on site for a while, there is a point where you've got to sort of take responsibility for it yourself.
Yeah, and that's the focus here, especially for the Academy members. It's just about taking ownership of your business, and this product is your responsibility. You're taking ownership of it when you receive it. Not that we're escaping ourselves from responsibility. This is a partnership. We will always work hand in hand with the guys to get a resolution for their customer. But you've got to take a bit of ownership of this product yourself. And part of that is check it the second it arrives, or within a day or whatever, because we can then help you sooner. Because we don't want you to fail either. And that's not me highlighting that there's a problem. I want to make that perfectly clear. The problems are the anomalies in that there is 0.1% of issues like that are significant issues on site. And if there is ever an issue, again, some of the things that separates us from some of the competitors is that we sort it very quickly. We just need people to meet us halfway there, and and help us help them.
Yeah, 100%. Right, have we got anything else to add in before you leave us? Is there anything else you want to chuck in the mix before you go?
I don't think so. Obviously, we said just be aware of the weather and be aware that deliveries may be impacted a tad. I know some people are in a little bit more remote areas, and I don't know about yourself, but I've got snow surrounding me. It's bloody freezing. I'm ready for ready for a bit of heat again. But I'm sure other people will be getting impacted by it as well. I've already spoken to a few people who've had a few office days rather than going out to site, which I can't blame them for really. But just be conscious of it.
No, it's probably why you're getting so many design submissions, because
everyone's at home.
In the office. Right, mate. Cool. Well, I hope everyone's enjoyed that, and thanks for the updates. I think it's good to hear from that side of the fence as well and know what's going on. And I think there's plenty of stuff we can keep talking about for the rest of this year. So thank you very much, and I'll speak to you soon.
No problem. Speak to you later.
See you in a bit. There we go. So there's Tom, who is obviously heading up KBB Supply Services, trade account. 1 minute. No, don't turn yourself off because I haven't fucking shit TV. Sorry about that. Yeah, so again, I think it's really good to hear from Tom and, get his insight. And again, you'll be interacting with the design team, the operations team. There's plenty of people behind the scenes here. But I feel like for these KBB, the product more leaning that way sort of streams, I feel like it's important to bring some different people in to feed the information to you and to give more insight, really, because it's all right listening to me all the time, but there are other people that have got things to say. So again, I hope you enjoyed that, and thank you for Tom, but let's move on. Right, so I'm just going to close it off really now. There's not really much more else to go through. What I do want to just highlight is, again, I want to highlight a members win. So it was a message we got over Christmas really, but Lee sent me this to read. So I'm just going to read it, okay? So we want to Enzo. So we've heard me talk about Enzo quite a few times now. So he went from 11 jobs in 2024 to 30 supply and fit jobs in 2025. The main contributors were website and the highest quality and conversion. So what we mean by that is leads that came through his website were of the highest quality. Now I can vouch for that because every website lead I've ever had has always been a very high converter compared to like fucking Facebook messages and tire kickers basically. But people that ring you and people that go through your website are always going to convert the highest, and that's not a surprise at all, but he has noticed that. The fact that he knows that is really good, because some people don't know their ass on their elbow, but it is always, again, you got to know your numbers in these things, and the fact he can point that out is really good. So the highest leads came from local activity and recommendations, the 12 steps building a brand. So basically what it means there is the whole KBB University, KBB Academy, whatever you're doing, if you're a trade partner dabbling in the university or you're an academy member doing the academy, then the 12 steps is about building your local brand, making you visible and never needing to run paid ads. That is what we're seeing. Academy Plus members, again, have even more success because they get the website, SEO, blogs, case studies, which is really important this day and age, especially with AI and whatnot. Being digitally visible is critical, and he's definitely benefited from that. He's also converted a lot more of the leads due to investing in the survey properly, turning up professionally with branded clothing, samples and brochures and leaflets while he was there. So again, I've said this loads of times, but if you sat there wondering what to do next, if you haven't yet done it, branded jackets, turning up with your, go to the selling toolbox in the app and look at the things that are available, branded brochures, mini info packs, get your jacket branded, get your vehicle branded. That survey, turning up as a brand properly, looking like a brand, is really important, because you've got to, that's what the customer's buying into at that time. If you're still turning up to surveys dressed in plain clothes with not a brochure, not a mini info pack, no leaflets to give them, not a branded vehicle. You're turning up like me right now in a plain jumper. Oh, I'm here to measure your job. Oh, it's a fucking. Do you know what I mean? Come on, it's 2026. If you've been watching this for any amount of time, and you know, if you're new, let you off. But if you're not new and you still haven't done these things, come on, it is. And the success that Enzo's having here, and again, Enzo Rosier Installations. Look at his social media. He's doing his social media properly now as well, and it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. So I want to say massive congratulations to him, because that is just an amazing jump from 11 jobs in 2024 to 30 in 2025. It's like tripled his business. And I know that those of you that have been tuned in for any number of time, Enzo's had a lot of success in the academy that, he said himself he wouldn't have had if it wasn't for the academy. And, we will never, ever try to take credit for other people's success, ever, 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 because they've got to put the work in. All we're doing is giving them a framework to do it. But we're immensely proud when people do. And I want to highlight that, because to triple your number of jobs in 1 year, and if you said to Enzo, what did you do to make that happen? I bet he couldn't really give you. Well, he's give us some clues, but it's not just one thing, is it? It's not, oh, I did that. He's done everything. He's worked on his website. He's joined Academy Plus. He's done the steps in the 12 steps. He's invested into his surveys, turning up to his surveys properly, and now he's done his social media. So see what I mean? It's all these little things that amount to one big thing. And to triple, do the maths on what 30 jobs is, when he's probably making between 2 and 5 grand on every one of them. He's probably making more than you. So if you want to make more, if you want to make something like what Enzo's doing, you got to do what Enzo does at the end of the day. So copy the people that are being successful. Don't try to be clever, because, it's not difficult. Success is not difficult. It really isn't. It's amazing how people stay poor, stay mentally, off the boil, let's say, because they just think it's complicated. They talk themselves out of it because they go, it's just too complicated. It's hard. I'm not supposed to be successful. Just get on with it, mate. You're just wasting your own life here if you're not doing it already. You really need to be getting to where Enzo is, because, he was working for Wix a couple of years ago. I remember at an event, those of you that were there at the events, and we made him sign to say, right, you do this before the next event. I remember when he was still working for Wix, and he was still trying to get his first supply and fit job. But, at the end of 23, I think he joined, or 24. I can't remember now. It was fucking years of flying by. But the point being is that he's just stuck with it. He's just been consistent. He's just, chipped away. And here we are. So massive congratulations, mate. Well done. Really, really proud of you. So before we next meet on this stream, I would expect you to be ready for kicking off 2026 properly. And if you're not going to the event, stay tuned for some monumental changes shortly after. I've alluded to what a lot of those changes are going to be. It's just going to be massive this year. I cannot stress enough how big this year is going to be. This is going to change. This is going to take people like Enzo and take him up again. Yeah, because I know that there's people in here at that level that are ready to go there. And there's loads of people not at that level that need to get there. Whether you're trade partner, academy, going for gold, wherever you are, everyone's got work to do here. No one can sit here and go, well, that don't apply to me, because it even applies to me. Like I said, I'm excited to sort of get this ecosystem complete over the next few weeks, and then just watch how everyone gets on, because I'm really excited for that. A bit nervous again, like I said earlier, because it's a big deal what's coming up. But remember that we all came here for change. We didn't come here to be entertained. This isn't entertainment, this is education. So don't sit here spectating and observing, because it's like I've just said, it's about copying the people that are successful, that have done it before, not trying to be clever. So just look around you, look in the academy, look at myself, look at the people that have done it. We're not special. We just work hard. Working hard is the destination. Just get there and knuckle down on the right things, and the rest of it happens. Trust me. There's nothing special about me. Nothing. The only difference between me and you and everyone else is that I'll run through walls to get things done. I will just get it done, whatever it is. And it doesn't even mean that it's right. I've done so much wrong. I've spent fucking years doing it wrong, but I kept going. It might have taken me years to realize I was doing it wrong, but I just kept going. And that is the only difference between me and everybody else, is that I will keep going. I just won't stop. But the path that you've got laid in front of you means that you don't have to guess. You've literally just got to put the work in. And as we're seeing, people are building businesses in no time at all. No time at all. How long would it take to get to 30 jobs a year without the academy and make money? And I'm not talking about shit supply and fit jobs, sorry, like labor only jobs. Don't look at it and go, well, I already do 5 a month. Because if you're not making 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 grand on each one of them, and you haven't got your own brand, it doesn't count. Graft doesn't count here. Working smart and doing it properly, pricing properly, understanding value is what matters. You know, that is where the rewards are. The rewards aren't in working for the sheds. You know, you might be doing, if you're doing 50, if you can look at it and go, if you've just thought to yourself in the last few minutes, well, Enzo does 30, well, I did 40 last year. But where's your 100 grand then in the bank that should, you know, or have washed through the bank that has funded your lifestyle? I bet it hasn't, because if you sat there thinking that and you were doing labor only jobs, you just worked for wages really hard. And that is not what this is about. That's not why you signed up as a trade partner. That's not why you're here. That's not why you joined the academy. You know, we're here to make change, and we're not here to sit. And yeah, it's nice to see other people doing well. Of course it is, but you need to be up there. You need to be that guy. You can't afford to not be that guy with the way the world's going. You need to get up there, because there's just not much waiting for you unless you take control of it. I tell you now, it is tough. Life's getting tougher. The world's getting tougher. Tax is getting tougher. The economy is getting tougher. All these things. If you're not elevating yourself into the eyes of the consumer, if you're not being seen as one of the best locally, you're fucked, basically. Do you know what I mean? Nothing's going to change. And if you kid yourself, you're happy with what you've got when you're not, when you're just lying to yourself, you know. So again, we kicked it off hard today. I'm not going to get into a rant because, you know, well, sorry, probably a bit too late for that. But, you know, the point being is that, you know, we spent the last half of last year, or the last quarter at least, saying, right, we're going to get ready for 2026. Well, it's here now. And how quickly has that gone? You know, and what have you done since that October time when I started going on about that? It's not too late. It's never too late to start. But if you've done cock all, then there's a wake-up call that, you know, you're not going to keep getting away with it. You're not going to keep getting away with it. And when you get to the event or around the event, when you hear what's actually going on in the academy this year, you're going to see the size of the opportunity that's now available to you shortly and think, fucking hell, I need to go for this, because gold members are going to clean up. I'll tell you fucking now, gold members are going to clean up because they'll get a lot of backing from me. I'll leave it there. So don't forget your trade portal, the app. Make sure you've got you know, if you're still not familiar with the trade portal, get in there, get logged in, get to know it. The app, have a look at the app. It's all changed. It's a lot easier to use. Let us know what you think. If anything's missing, let us know. Use your WhatsApp groups. Use your check-ins. You can also do check-ins now in the app. So in the app, go to KBB Academy members area and go to check-in. You can literally do it there in the app. So you can do it now on your phone. You don't even need to go in the academy to do a check-in anymore. It's in the app. And you don't need to do a full check-in as well. I want to stress this because I feel like people feel like, well, I've got to do the full check-in. I've got to answer these questions. The check-ins are good if you're going to do a deep reflection. And there's a few things you want to talk about and you want me to really pick on a few things and help you unpick a few things. But if you've got one business challenge and you go, do you know what? It's one thing that's doing me head in. There is an option on the form just to put a single challenge in. So make sure you're using that as well. I know you've got your WhatsApp groups, but it's good to do them on the streams as well. And I know that this isn't the stream for that. We're doing the clinic next week, which will be a slightly different format to the clinic as well. I think you'll be able to guess who my special guest on that one will be. But we're going to make it a bit more interesting, have a bit more of a laugh. Again, this is always the more KBB supply services leaning stream, and the next one's more KBB Academy leaning, but we'll always talk about both because at the end of the day, they still do piss in the same pot, don't they? Let's face it. And anyway, I'm going to go. Let us know what you think. Big love to Tom. Let us know what you think about how he's done tonight, his first stream. First time we put him right on the spot. I only told him about that yesterday, but he's done fine. Hopefully you agree. And like I say, don't forget, you've got until Monday dinner time-ish to get your check-ins in. So I know I've got some of your check-ins already. There's no big emergencies on them check-ins, so I'll just leave them until the next clinic, which is obviously next week. But again, make sure that you've got your check-ins coming in over the next few days, and we'll definitely get to you. Okay, right. Thank you. Happy New Year. I will see you. Well, the event is end of next week, isn't it? So we will have a clinic before the event. So we'll be getting that obviously out to you before the event. Sorry, I'm losing my bearings there. Yeah, so it's Friday the 16th, isn't it? What are we on now? Right, okay, yeah. So yeah, we've got a clinic, then we've got the event literally 2 days later. So we've got a packed schedule, and honestly, it's the biggest month ever. You should be very, very excited to be an Academy member right now if you're in there. And if you're not, you definitely need to be thinking about it. And if you're a trade partner and you're staying a trade partner, just make sure you're using the app, using the trade portal, big love if you're already sort of making your money and using the resources that we put out there. Everyone makes it a different way, but if you're an Academy member, especially, it's a really exciting time. Okay, right, we'll leave it there. I'll see you next Wednesday, and then after that, I'll see you at the event in person. All right, take care of yourselves. Good night. Bye-bye.